The tiger moved along the riverbank where scent should have been strongest. Its body flowed low and silent between reeds and over damp soil, shoulders rising and falling with controlled power. Each step was placed deliberately, pads pressing into mud that normally kept stories well, weight, direction, time. Riverbanks were reliable, water gathered scent, slowed it, layered it into readable lines. Tonight, the line would not stay whole. The tiger paused and lowered its head, nose close to the ground. There it was, the scent it had been following for more than an hour. Fresh. Warm. A deer, maybe two, had passed recently, moving parallel to the water. Normally, the smell would form a continuous thread, pulled gently along the bank by humidity and shade. Instead, it broke. The scent was strong in one place, then abruptly thin, not fading naturally, but fractured, as if torn apart and scattered. The tiger lifted its head slightly and tested the air. The smell rose, then vanished again, caught in small conflicting currents that twisted instead of flowing. This was wrong. The river was calm. No wind moved the surface. Reeds stood mostly still. Everything looked aligned for a clean hunt. But the air close to the ground told a different story. Layers slipping past one another, temperatures uneven, moisture rising and falling in pockets too small to see. The tiger stepped forward, following the strongest fragment of scent. 2 paces later, it was gone. The tiger stopped instantly, its tail stilled, muscles tightened beneath striped fur. The animal did not continue blindly. Following a broken trail without confirmation wasted energy and risked exposure. The tiger circled slowly, nose low, tracing a wide arc. The scent reappeared near the water's edge, sharp again, then thinned into nothing over bare stone. The deer had not jumped, had not turned sharply, had not entered the river. The trail had not ended, it had dissolved. The tiger straightened slightly and looked along the bank. Moonlight reflected off the slow water, silver and flat. The opposite shore lay dark and still. No movement betrayed prey. The tiger listened, not for sound, but for absence of sound that often followed movement. Nothing. The tiger moved again, slower now, testing each step. Its whiskers brushed grass tips, reading air movement too subtle for sight. The scent appeared again, briefly, higher this time, lifted off the ground, smeared sideways. The tiger's ears flicked back once. This meant the air was unstable. Warm water released moisture upward. Cooler air above slid sideways. The riverbank had become a place where scent did not settle, but fractured into layers that shifted constantly. A trail here could not be followed cleanly. The tiger had hunted rivers all its life. It knew when a trail was old. It knew when prey doubled back. It knew when rain erased meaning. This was different. This was a trail being actively broken by the environment itself. The tiger followed anyway, adjusting instinctively, checking ground, then air, then ground again. Progress slowed to near stillness. Every step required confirmation. Every confirmation vanished too quickly to trust. The tiger stopped beside a fallen log and crouched, body compressing into shadow. From here, it could watch the bank ahead, letting time pass to see if prey revealed itself through movement instead of scent. Minutes passed. The river moved softly. Insects drifted. A frog called once, then stopped. The scent returned faintly, then split again, one fragment drifting toward the water, another toward the reeds, neither strong enough to commit to. The tiger did not move. It understood now that the hunt had changed. This was no longer a question of tracking skill or patience. The medium itself, air and water together, refused to carry information cleanly. The tiger was being asked to hunt in a place where the rules it relied on were temporarily unreliable. The scent had not disappeared. It had broken apart. And as the tiger remained crouched at the river's edge, muscles held in quiet tension, it faced a decision that would shape the rest of the night. whether to continue trusting fragments that dissolved as soon as they were found, or to abandon the bank entirely in search of ground where scent could still hold long enough to mean something. The river whispered beside it, but it did not tell the tiger where to go. The tiger left the crouch and moved again, but the movement had changed. It no longer followed a line, it followed a zone. The riverbank was wide enough that scent could appear anywhere within it, on mud, on stone, lifted into reeds, pressed briefly into damp leaves. The tiger widened its search pattern, stepping diagonally instead of straight ahead, nose working constantly as it sampled air and ground in alternating rhythm. This cost time. Normally, a trail narrowed decisions. Here, every decision multiplied them. The tiger found another fragment near a cluster of flattened grass. Strong for a moment, fresh enough to raise certainty, then it unravelled, breaking into thin strands that drifted in opposite directions. One thread lifted toward the water, another slipped inland, fading almost immediately. The tiger froze mid-step. This kind of break usually meant prey had crossed water, climbed, or been disturbed, but the ground told no such story. Hoofprints were present, clean and direct, moving forward without panic. The deer had not run, it had walked. The scent should have walked with it. The tiger lowered its head until whiskers brushed soil and exhaled slowly through its nose, drawing in the deepest possible reading. The smell was there, but unstable, as if pulled apart by invisible hands. The river exhaled beside it. Warm water released vapour steadily, rising in thin sheets that met cooler air drifting down from the forest edge. Where they met, scent lifted, scattered, then fell again in unpredictable places. The tiger was moving through a layered atmosphere, not a single one. This forced another adjustment. The tiger slowed to near stillness, pausing longer between steps. It began to test time instead of space, waiting in place to see where scent returned rather than chasing where it had been. After several breaths, a fragment drifted back toward its nose from upstream. The tiger turned its head slightly and followed that direction a few steps. The fragment vanished again. The tiger stopped, muscles tightening in irritation it did not express outwardly. Frustration burned energy. The tiger released it deliberately, settling back into control. Tracking like this could not be rushed. The tiger shifted strategy again. Instead of staying close to the water, it angled slightly higher onto the bank, where ground was drier and air less layered. Here, scent might settle longer before being lifted again. The tiger moved carefully, testing each new strip of terrain. For a moment, the trail improved. The scent held for several steps in a row, forming a faint but continuous line. The tiger followed, body low, tail steady, confidence rebuilding. Then the ground changed. Bare stone replaced soil. The scent shattered instantly, flung sideways by air rising off the rocks still warm from the day. The tiger halted so abruptly that its hind paw hovered mid-step before setting down again. The trail had not turned. The ground had betrayed it. The tiger stood there, unmoving, listening not to sound, but to the environment's behavior. It needed to know whether this instability would continue or whether it had entered a brief patch of distortion. Seconds passed. The scent did not return. This was no longer coincidence. The tiger accepted the truth slowly and fully. The riverbank, as a system, was no longer reliable for tracking tonight. It did not matter how skilled the tracker was if the medium refused to preserve information. The tiger backed down toward the reeds again, but this time not to pursue, to reassess. It sat briefly on its haunches, posture tall, head raised, scanning the bank ahead for any sign of movement that could replace scent entirely. Sight was secondary for a tiger, but not useless, especially near water, where prey often revealed itself by accident. Nothing moved. The deer was still ahead somewhere, not far, not fast, but invisible, protected by a landscape that broke the tiger's primary sense into pieces too small to follow. The tiger stood again. The question was no longer where did the deer go? It was where could scent still behave? And as the tiger turned slightly away from the river, muscles realigning toward darker ground inland, it prepared to make a choice that separated successful hunters from exhausted ones, whether to continue insisting on a broken thread, or to leave the riverbank behind and seek a place where the night still allowed information to remain whole. The tiger left the riverbank in silence. Not abruptly, not in defeat, but with the calm precision of an animal that recognized when effort no longer translated into advantage. It moved inland only a short distance at first, just enough for the sound of water to dull and the air to lose its layered instability. Almost immediately, the world changed. Scent began to hold. Not strongly, not clearly, but coherently. The tiger lowered its head and tested the ground again. Here, the smell did not fracture instantly. It lay thinner but continuous, stretched lightly across leaf litter and damp soil beneath trees. This confirmed what the riverbank had denied. The problem had never been the trail. It had been the air. The tiger followed this weaker but stable line deeper into cover. Its pace remained slow, deliberate, conserving energy and minimizing disturbance. Every step now built on the last instead of erasing it. But something was missing. The scent was older here, not stale, but delayed. The deer had passed this way earlier, before drifting back toward the river where humidity and warmth had shredded its trail. The tiger was no longer closing distance. It was reconstructing history. The tiger stopped beside a fallen branch and lifted its head, drawing scent from higher air. Nothing fresh returned. No warmth, no immediate presence. The deer had moved on, perhaps back toward water, perhaps farther inland. Either way, the advantage was gone. The tiger stood still for a long moment, body quiet, tail relaxed. Hunger pressed in, but it did not sharpen into urgency. Urgency led to mistakes. The tiger had learned this early and well. Skill could solve many problems. It could compensate for darkness. It could adapt to terrain, it could outweight prey, but skill could not repair a medium that refused to carry information. Tonight, the riverbank had done exactly that. The tiger turned its head once more toward the water, listening. The river whispered steadily, unchanged, as if unaware of the role it had played. The broken scent was already gone, scattered beyond recovery. The tiger did not return. It chose instead to move farther inland, where air cooled evenly beneath trees, and scent layered predictably again. Hunting would resume there, not immediately, not easily, but on terms that rewarded patience instead of dissolving it. The deer might escape this night. That was acceptable. Survival did not require success every time. It required knowing when the world itself had turned unreliable, and having the discipline to stop before effort became loss. As the tiger disappeared into shadowed forest, its stripes merging with darkness and leaf, the riverbank remained behind it, damp, reflective, and misleading. The scent had broken apart there, so the tiger had broken away as well, and in doing so, it preserved the only thing that mattered more than a single hunt: the ability to recognize when the environment had changed the rules, and to adapt before hunger forced the wrong decision. The forest accepted the tiger differently. Here, the air cooled evenly beneath the canopy, settling instead of lifting. Moisture clung to leaves and bark, holding scent close to the ground rather than tearing it apart. Each breath the tiger drew returned something usable, faint, layered, but coherent. This was not abundance, it was order. The tiger moved slowly through shadow, body low, shoulders rolling with controlled power. The ground was softer here, layered with leaves that pressed down and kept memory. Old tracks lay tangled, but they told stories honestly. What had passed, how long ago, in which direction. No sudden disappearances, no false breaks. The tiger followed none of them yet. Instead, it walked without urgency, allowing the night to reset. The failed river hunt did not cling to it. Tigers did not carry frustration forward, they carried calibration. Hunger was present but disciplined, a pressure that sharpened attention rather than rushed it. Some distance in, the tiger stopped. A new scent drifted across its nose. Different. Not the deer from the river, something smaller. Closer. The tiger lowered its head and confirmed it. Fresh, light, recently disturbed. The trail was faint but intact, lying gently across leaf litter instead of shattering into fragments. The medium here held. The tiger did not pursue immediately. It waited. Waiting now had meaning again. The air responded. Time added clarity instead of erasing it. The scent strengthened slightly as the animal ahead moved, unaware, trusting the forest's consistency. The tiger aligned its body with the trail and began to follow. This hunt would be slower. There would be no water to compress distance, no humidity to exaggerate presence. But it would be readable. Each step would add information rather than destroy it. Behind the tiger, the riverbank lay quiet and unchanged, still breaking scent into nothing. It would continue to do so until temperature shifted, wind reorganized, or night deepened enough to stabilize the air. The tiger did not need to return to know that. It had already learned what that place would not give. As it moved deeper into the forest shadow, stripes dissolving into pattern and leaf, the tiger's world narrowed again to what mattered: ground that remembered, air that carried, and patience that could finally work instead of fighting the environment itself. The scent no longer broke apart, and because of that, the tiger moved forward not with urgency, but with certainty, knowing that when the medium held, skill mattered again, and the hunt could proceed on terms that rewarded discipline rather than punished it. The river whispered somewhere behind, the forest answered, and the tiger followed where the answer remained whole.